Happy Wednesday, folks. It is Hunter from Support Local Film. I hope you're having a great day. And if you haven't found your perfect plans for Halloween, I got something really fun for you guys. It is Homecoming Horror. What is Homecoming Horror? Well, it's the Film Hound annual event that we do every single year. And we're going to be at the Rhyolite Gallery. We're going to have some spooky movies. We're going to have costume contests. We're going to have spooky drinks. And we're going to have local movies, baby. You are going to love it. We are going to have people like the Gore House Girls, their movie Gore House. We're going to have our friend Reed Sanders, and we're going to have someone really familiar to the show, Ryan Yancey. We're going to have him and Diamond Fierro's movie, We Are All Going to Die, LOL. It is a blast. You are going to be saying LOL at the Rhyolite Gallery, October 29th. All you got to do is RSVP. It is a free entry. Costume contest, that's a free entry too, baby. All you got to do is come in your costume. Hit up Spirit Halloween, hit up Amazon, and come on down to Rhyolite Gallery, October 29th from 6 to 10 p.m. We will be there. The drinks are going to be spooky as hell, and we are going to have a fantastic time.
Like fun, Hunter. I can't wait to see how it all plays out. But right now, we need to see how this really interesting conversation is going to play out. We have a very special guest today. He made a very long title that I don't want to butcher because it is beautifully written, but it also, I'm terrible at speaking, so I'm not going to say it. But our guest is here, and he's awesome. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Keith.
Hi, my name is Keith. I'm a local filmmaker from Fort Collins, Colorado, and I'm really excited to be here. Happy National Cinema Day.
Oh, hey.
Yes, today is National Cinema Day. So if you are with us today, and it's September 3rd when we're filming, you don't see this now, but we're going to all go see movies for $3 later today.
Mm-hmm. That Jaws re-release, baby.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. I mean, isn't that exciting? That's about what a movie cost back then to actually go see. So I'm going to be reliving all of my, Blockbuster days.
There is a theater in Texas where you can do dollar movies, but I wonder if that's changed after COVID, because that was pre-COVID.
Well, if you go to Elvis, the Elvis is you could see all the movies from 6 months ago for $3.
That's worth it to me.
That is worth it.
I might as well do that.
Well, you missed them the first time, so you got to go to get a second chance that's cheaper. But that's okay, because we got something we're going to not miss the very first time. We have Keith Ariz in his movie, which I know the title of, The Boy in the Tiny House and the Monster Who Lived Next Door. So Keith, really take it away. Tell us all about this movie. What inspired you to make it, and how you got this amazing cast together from all over to make this Colorado and other states film.
Yeah, no problem. So I made this movie because ever since I was a kid, I've always wanted to make movies. I've been obsessed with movies. My mom always tells the story that I learned how to operate a VCR before I could walk. So I've always just loved watching TV. And then ever since I saw Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds, that's when I knew I was like, I'm going to do this for a living somehow. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm going to be in the movies. And so I've just been making movies since I was a teenager. I started when I was 12 in junior high and just kept making them with my friends, just a bunch of, movies that you upload on YouTube and screwing around. And we did a bunch of fan films from the Halloween series that I'm actually still pretty proud of, but could never release because I don't own the IP. And then I finally got to a point about 2 years ago. I was just kind of hanging out, and I was like, at this point in my life, I'm only responsible for myself. I'm not married. I don't have kids. I don't have major bills. I'm really just hanging out, and I've always wanted to make movies, so I might as well. This is the best time in my life to do it when I have no responsibility toward anyone but me. So I wrote the script, and I got one friend together, and I was like, we're going to make this movie. We've been talking about it for years, and we always just keep putting it off and making up excuses. And I was like, we're just going to do it. We're going to film it in this summer of 2021. And so that was a year. So we did it a year before. I was like, next summer, we're going to film this movie no matter what. no matter how much money we have, no matter what we put together, we're just going to do it. And so we spent the whole year in pre-production, getting everything ready. And then come that summer, we made the movie.
Thanks for letting me hang out.
Of course. Sorry about them. They can be a little immature.
Maybe next time you can take me somewhere where they don't make hot chocolate in a microwave.
Sure. Sierra?
What is that?
What's what?
On your roof.
That's cool.
I think this is the first time anyone's been inspired by War of the Worlds, Steven Spielberg's
Yeah,
version.
that movie's so underrated. People always hate on it, probably because the ending is a little underwhelming. But like, it's really well directed. It's well acted. It has a great. It's about a family coming together when like the world is ending, but it's great because it reflects that Tom Cruise's character, his world has already ended because he lost his family because he's divorced and his wife's moved on and she's pregnant with someone else, and so he has nothing to live for anymore. Really, he's just kind of hanging out. And then when the world starts falling apart and he has his kids, he's like, you know, my world already ended, but I can't let theirs end. I have to get them back home. Such a great movie, so underrated.
I think it has the kind of the same vibes though as like Signs with the where you just pour water on some aliens and they start to
Kind of like,
evaporate.
I love Signs.
They do end like it doesn't have the greatest ending. Like it's kind of like a that's it kind of ending. But I guess, you know, Spielberg, he's more about the family drama. So, you know, the aliens aren't the most important part of that movie. It's getting his kids back to Miranda Otto, and he does, and so it ends there, and you're just. But still, yeah, I can see how you're kind of like, man, we had like 2 hours of great action, and then.
I mean, it's a very superb movie until the very end. I mean, you can say that, but your movie's superb all the way through. That's the part I really like about it. So,
hopefully.
yeah. So where did you come with the grit here? Where's the story come from? You got the monster, you got the boy. Where does that come in from your heart?
Well, it came from just like I really like dramas. And so I always thought I would make a drama movie first. And the very last scene in the movie, I've had that scene in my head for years, and I always knew like if I made a movie, that's how it's going to end. So the first thing I wrote was the very last scene. And then I was like, okay, now I got to figure out a whole movie. Like, how do I get to this scene? Where does the character go through to end in this moment? And I just thought of like, okay, well, I thought of this whole drama, but it wasn't working. And then I was like, well, I love horror movies and I love monster movies. I bet that could work really well. And as soon as I put those two thoughts together, I thought of the title. So I wrote the title, and then that was it. And then the story just came to my mind, and I just wrote it. And it's about a boy dealing with the loss of his father at such an unexpected and time and such an early age for him, you know, because he's about 17 in the movie. So it's just, he never thought his dad would die at that point in his life. And it also stems from like when I was about 8 years old, my grandfather died unexpectedly from cancer. And even though I was so young when he passed, I still like remember him really, really well, as if I just saw him yesterday. And I always just kind of felt like, wow, he just left and I didn't get to even say goodbye. Because when he was passing, my parents didn't let me go. I think they thought because I was so young, I would get scared or something. But I've always just like remembered that. Like, I wish I could have went. Like, I wish they would have let me make that decision for myself. And in the movie, the boy never gets to say goodbye to his father. So it was just like, I had that idea, but then I was able to like work through that emotionally through this story.
Well, it's also like it's a horror monster film, you know, so you wouldn't expect all this heart like touching storyline to come with it. So that's cool because it's unexpected.
Yeah.
So where do you take your relationship from death into this movie? Where point your main character get your injection?
He probably gets it more so, I would say, toward the end of the movie, because he spends the whole movie angry about it, and I was never really angry. I think just because I was so young. But I came to a point of acceptance and being able to, like, not be scared of death, but just to come to terms, like, it just happens sometimes earlier than we'd like it. But we just have to learn how to deal with it. And I guess, mild spoiler alert, he learns to accept it by the time the movie ends.
Do you have a better relationship with death now?
I think so, yeah, because I've had a few relatives over the years pass, and as I've been older, and I've gotten to, like, experience it as an adult. Like, I experienced it as a child, and then I experienced it as a teenager, and I've experienced it as an adult in my 20s. And I find that, like, while it's always, like, no matter how old you are, it's always sad, and it always, like, you always feel that loss. But for me personally, as I've been an adult and I've handled it, I've been able to really learn how to, like, process my emotions, how to work through it, how to grieve.
I think it's time for, on that very somber note,
Yeah.
interesting transition here, but it is time for game time. So, Hunter, I don't know if you can come out of that really sweet moment.
Oh, you mean a palate cleanser? Hold on, everyone. Pick up your white wine. So, Keith, your movie is called The Boy in the Tiny House and the Monster Who Lived Next Door. So we came up with a title game that we thought would fit your genre and fit you. It's called The Cabin in the Woods. Have you ever heard of Cabin in the Woods? Ever
Yes,
seen that one?
I've seen it quite a few times.
Me too. Me too. It's repeat viewing for me. So that's why today's game show is all about the spooky little cabin in that spooky little woods and all the knives that come out in between.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to ask you 3 questions. Number 1 is, Joss Whedon and Drew Goddard wrote the script very, very quickly for this movie. But just how quickly was it? Was it A, in 1 day, B, 2 days, 3 in 3 days, or D, in 10 years, and then they just banged out the final draft in 2 hours before the deadline because they forgot all about it and they smoked a cigarette and made it happen?
I want it to be B, but not sure.
I want to say 3. I feel like they wrote it in a weekend together.
You took a long weekend and wrote it? Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Correct.
Woo!
Yes. Yes, Drew Goddard and Joss Whedon wrote the screenplay themselves after both came from failed film projects. They locked themselves up in a hotel room in order to challenge themselves and wrote the entire script in 1 weekend. You're absolutely correct.
What a challenge. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Maybe we can, like 48, but just writing a script.
kind of. It's just worse. There's no product at the end of it. Just a lot of, like, empty cups of coffee and sadness.
Yeah.
The floating head monster was played by one of the special effects makeup artist and Heather Langenkamp's husband. Now, who is that person? Is it A, David Leroy Anderson? Is it B, George Romero? Is it C, Tony Silvani? Or is it D, Danny DeVito?
Man, I know who she is, and she does special makeup too. I think it's A.
You're absolutely correct. It is David Leroy Anderson. He gets to play the monster, the floating head monster, and he loved it. You could tell in the movie. Okay.
That's so fun.
Keith, you've done a very good job. You've gotten 2 out of 3. But to get out of the cabin in the woods, you're going to have to get all our little riddles right now, aren't you?
Yes.
So, the movie won 5 2012 Fright Meter Awards, including Best Horror Movie, Best Director, and what else? Was it A, Best Screenplay, B, Best Visual Effects, C, Best Special Effects, or D, the Special Award, Movie Liked Best by actress Laura Dern?
I can guarantee Laura Dern has never seen this movie.
Laura would never deign to watch this. She's a
She's
too
busy
above
winning
it all.
Oscars. Oh,
Yeah, she's too busy polishing all the awards she actually does win.
I'm pretty sure it was best screenplay.
You're absolutely right. If you lock yourself up in a hotel room for 3 days, you may win best scrnicplay at the Fright Meter Awards.
3 for 3.
And if you're Keith Ariz, you have just made it through the cabin in the woods. If
You survived.
He survived. I mean, we've only threatened death to how many of our guests?
We should not disclose that
Yeah, exactly.
for legal purposes.
That's okay. You know who our lawyer is? Laura Dern.
Laura Dern. She's
And-
got enough money.
Hey,
got enough
she helped Scarlett Johansson win custody over Adam Driver, so she
Oh,
knows
really?
what she's doing.
She does.
She
That's
does
why
what
she's
she's
our
doing.
lawyer.
I think she helped save her own kids, or save the other kids in Big Little Lies too. So
Yeah, she did.
She
She's
can
there.
make it happen. But Keith, you're here with us, and if you're just joining us, we have Keith Ariz, the man who made The Boy in the Tiny House and the Monster Who Lived Next Door. We'll be right back to talk all about it and what is going on next up in Fort Collins. Hey, it's Hunter. We're halfway through the podcast, and have you not taken that RSVP link to get your tickets for Homecoming Horror? Well, I gotta let you know right now, there's not a lot of space. We are only gonna let a select few people into the show, so if you really want to see all these movies, if you really want to enjoy the costume contest, you have to come and RSVP. You have to RSVP to see all this cool stuff. So we hope that you will take the link and come join us there. There's a few tickets left. So if you're in Castle Rock or if you're in the Denver area, come hang out with us at Homecoming Horror, the Rhyolite Gallery, October 29th, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's going to be a blast. So Keith, you are going to get the offer that every one of our guests gets to catch us outside after the interview and fight us in the parking lot. DCM has a great little parking lot. It's very good, locked in place. You could get into a good brawl. Do you want to take us out there?
No, it's if I take you up on the offer, then the show will end. There'll be no one left to host the show. And I like the show. I'm a big fan of the show. I actually listen to it.
2 against 1, and he's determined.
Oh, he's gonna take you on first, Julie, and make
please,
me watch.
you will
I do
not
go
win
to the
against
gym
me.
6 days a week.
Oh,
So.
yeah?
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Guess what planet you're on, buddy? You're on Planet Fitness. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh.
Workout maybe once a month.
I walk my dogs often. So I'll tell you that, Keith. It's fun we're here with you because not only are you a great filmmaker, you're a bit of a fan of the show, so you know all the ins and outs. You don't hit any pitfalls. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about your next movie, the next thing that's coming down the pipeline, the next little monster. And what is this next door across the street?
Instead of a tiny house, it's a mansion.
Yeah, the mansion. Yeah, because you're going to be moving to the mansion once everybody watches this
As the
movie.
boy gets older, he has to.
Yeah. Oh, that would be kind of a fun sequel. The bungalow outside of the college town and the monster across the street.
And the monster.
So what is your next movie called?
So my next movie is called Good Boy,
Okay.
and we'll start filming end of next summer, early fall, and essentially it's going to be my tribute to slasher films, like full on man in mask, killing the characters off one by one, and you have to figure out who's under the mask, who's the one doing it.
Oh, that's the
'Cause,
best. It's like murder mystery.
I love slasher films. I love what are they called? The whodunit genres. I love those. I think they're so fun. And basically this film it's focusing, the main focus of it is I want to bring to light that the emotional trauma and PTSD that men who have been sexually assaulted, how does that affect them in their life? Like what do they go through after the assault happens? Like what does that look like as they go on through their life? Because as a society we rarely talk about women who go through it, but even rarer we talk about men who go through it. Like when we hear about men suffering it, we kind of dismiss it. There's almost this attitude that men can't be sexually assaulted. And when I've seen it played out in movies, there's a couple occasions where it's presented seriously, but for the most part it's always played for like comedic effect.
Right.
Right.
I see it a lot in comedies, and it's always like a joke kind of thing. And I've just always wanted to like really bring to light, like, men go through this too, and it does have a huge emotional toll on them, and it can mess them up if they don't address it, if they don't work through it.
Right.
And then if we don't, as a society, we don't offer them any help or any resources. And so it's focusing, like, that's the main focus of it. And it's just through the lens of a slasher film.
So this is an interesting kind of take and concept, and I see that you really want to honor this subject and give it the due it deserves. Why make it a horror movie then?
Because I tried to, again, I was like, this could be like a really good drama. And I kept trying to write it as one, but no matter how hard I tried, it felt like I was trying too hard. Like I was trying too hard to make it super dramatic. Like I was almost trying to manipulate the audience into feeling a certain emotion. And it just kind of just felt like I was overplaying it, making it overly dramatic. And on the other side of that, this subject matter, it's hard for audiences to go straight into a movie and just watch that play out. Right. But if you do it through a horror lens, audiences, especially mainstream audiences, they're more willing to go along that journey with you and watch this movie where they're learning about something important and something serious, but they don't feel like they're being preached at because they're also, lack of a better word, being entertained at the same time. Like it feels safer for them to go through that. And like that's why I love horror movies. I think you can, through a horror lens, you can tell any story about any subject.
To me, this sounds like more of a story that we can really sink our teeth into. And you may not want the label of drama, but when this kind of makes me think of like movies like Loose or We Need to Talk About Kevin, movies that are like, hit classic dramas that, you are going to have a cult following for the rest of their life. So I'm excited for Good Boy.
Can't wait to see the cults.
Can't wait to see it. But Keith, I think we need to get into something a little deeper. Now, we're knowing all about your film career here, but I think Julia wants to know something more about you.
Even more. In fact, what I want to do here is, so you're in Fort Collins, you're also from Utah, right? And I've never heard of anyone from Utah. Have you heard of anyone from Utah?
I've met Mormons, yeah.
Yeah. I guess I have too, but Fort Collins and Utah are very different than us. So what I want to do is I want to see if we have stuff in common. Okay. So just take a minute. Everyone take a minute and think of something very unique about them.
Some Colorado things about us that are very unique.
Or just individually, what's very unique about us.
Personally, it's unique to like
where you're,
us people from Fort Collins.
Yeah.
Like,
FOCO things, Utah things.
Yeah. See if we have anything in common, regardless of how little we convene.
Oh, well, I'm pretty sure Fort Collins is one of the like last few places that actually has a drive-in theater. So there was like a lot of people that in the summer when it's open, they love to go to the drive-in.
Yeah, the Lyric. You like going to the Lyric. It's the Holiday Drive, the Holiday Twin Drive.
The Holiday Twin Drive. And so I feel like that's unique to us just because there's not a lot of drive-ins left in the United States. They've all kind of shut down over time, but somehow this one is still thriving.
Still make it. You know what? I grew up in California, right? And there's actually one in Sacramento. Nice. And I would go there with my grandma all the time. We'd bring in our own food. She'd set up blankets. It was great.
See, I never got to do a drive-in until COVID because AMC put all together those theaters that you couldn't do it in their own theaters. So they set up the drive-in theaters in like shopping malls and in Park Meadows Mall here in Denver. And I watched all the Harry Potter movies because I needed to get out of the house. And me and Abby and her little sister all went to the Harry Potter movies at the drive-in in the middle of the shopping mall. And I think that's really fun. You got the radio station and everything. So that's really unique, Keith.
That is.
But it all brings us together now, doesn't it?
All right, now for unique things, starting with our guest, Keith.
I'll tell you something I think is unique to Fort Collins. I will never, ever stop talking about this place because it's my favorite FOCO place. It's Big Al's Burgers. And this may only be unique to me. Every time in Fort Collins, I will go out of my way. I will stop there and I will eat a 60-40 where it's like 60% ham and 40% pork. Ooh, that's what gets me good
Sounds
every day.
delicious.
It's greasy and terrible for you, but it's great for you. It's good for your heart.
It's soul food.
It's soul food.
It's food for the soul.
So that's unique to me is that every single time if I'm in Greeley, I'll go to a big house. I will drive out of my way to get there. So I think that's my unique thing about your little community.
So I have like no experience with Fort Collins, but one experience when I was a college student partying with all the frat guys in Boulder. You can just drive down Fraternity Lane and find a party. And it's that easy. You just, especially as a girl, you just drive around, find a party, and join. Fort Collins has hidden parties throughout their city. So one time my girls and we went to Fort Collins expecting to be like Boulder, where we just drive down Fraternity Lane and we find a party. And that didn't happen. So we ended up driving home really sad. It was a little depressing for my crazy college days.
The party scene's pretty good in FOCO. You
That's
just
what
have
I
to know
heard.
where to look.
That's
You just have to know where to look.
See, and I'm just gonna have to come visit you, and then you're just gonna have to show me where they are.
Yeah,
even
Keith,
though...
do you know where the good parties are?
I never experienced it because I went to college in Utah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
missed the whole party thing here.
That's okay. We'll just go to HIFCO and we'll just talk to people and.
Yeah, that's coming around the corner.
It is. It's almost here.
It's almost here. You excited?
Oh yeah, I've never been before, so I'm excited to go and just like see what it's like. Like, what's the atmosphere like? What's
It's
the
very
vibe like?
Come on. They got live music. They got live art. It's one of the best festivals in Colorado. We'll go together. How's that
Okay,
sound? Sounds like a good deal.
Yep.
You guys better get a selfie and like post it.
Oh, deal. Heck, it's practically next weekend.
It is next weekend.
Then we better go. Hope you don't have plans next weekend because we're going to FOCO.
As you can
Okay.
tell, we really love HIFCO because
We keep talking about it.
we keep talking about it. All right, Keith. Well, it has been amazing having you on. We're so touched by everything that you're doing with your horror films, and we're excited to see how they come out. Is there any way our audience can support you, either through your plugs or on YouTube or...
Where can we see you, Keith?
Well, I have an Instagram. I'll be honest, I don't use it maybe as much as I should, but you can find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is acooldude26, but it's cool with a K.
Oh, super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I have a YouTube channel, but like none of my like real stuff. It's all of my fan films from when I was a teenager and early 20s. So if you want to check those out, I'm actually still pretty proud of them. So like if you want to check those out, you could find me on YouTube there. It's just my name.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about all I have right now. I'm not used to the whole like social media presence, promote my work. That's something I'm still trying to ease myself into.
Well, you better be a big star by the time Good Boy comes out because we're gonna need everybody to know about it and everybody to see it.
Mm-hmm.
So you better figure this out, son.
I know, yeah. Once I get the whole like web page up and everything, I'll have to start promoting it and be like, check here for updates. Here we go.
Well, we'll be excited for updates, and when you finish the movie, you better come back and talk to us, okay?
I will. I'd love to. This was great.
Yeah,
Excellent.
we loved having you.
Yeah, it's been really fun to like see how you guys do all of this like behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, because we do it completely clean all the way through each time, right?
Yeah, we're one-take wonders, and that's what the power of Denver Community Media gives us.
I know, it's amazing. Richard Linklater wishes.
Yeah, Richard Winklater can eat his heart out. We can get it done on time. Anyway.
That's all that matters. But whatever you're doing, stop doing it
Right
and
now.
watch some locally produced film.
Right now.
Right now.
Watch Keith's film.
Yeah, please.
And no matter where you are, if it's in Fort Collins, if it's in Utah, just remember to stay creative,
Stay
Colorado.
creative, Colorado. I messed it up, but that's okay.
It's fine.